right. So I have got my phone up. So if you see me looking over to the side, it's just to see if there's any comments that are not here, that aren't in StreamYard, but are on Facebook. Okay.
Sounds good. I just got it added to my profile, so we're live on both.
Excellent. So we're cooking with gas here, folks.
Yes.
Cooking with caffeine here, folks.
That is the more accurate one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that we are here today is to just sort of get to know you and for you to get to know us. This will be our first episode, so we're going to try and keep it light. Today we thought we'd go over the just what we did before we became online marketers and the journey that sort of led us here, and maybe a little bit about where we're at on that. All right, so Rose, take it away.
Oh, we're starting with me. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Always.
All right. So prior to this, I was in warehouse management. And then I thought that was going to kind of be the be all and end all. I thought that the company I was working with was, the one that was going to make all my hopes and dreams come true. And then I was fired and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So continued with warehouse management, but got my real estate license in the interim, quit warehousing and went full-time realtor. And then the market kind of shifted. So now I do some part-time work here and there. But I had heard about kind of affiliate and influencer marketing back in 2015 when I was in New Zealand. But at that time, I was very anti-smartphone, which I still kind of am, honestly. I was very anti-social media. I didn't know what Instagram was. Like all I had was Facebook, and I had a love-hate relationship with that. And there was a couple people that were traveling New Zealand. They were like, talking about, I tag the clothes I'm wearing. If someone buys, I get a cut, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole of health and wellness, just because it entertained me. And I think here in the States, especially, we don't use food as medicine as we should. We use food as just an excuse.
Oh yeah, 100% agree on that. Our food is the opposite of medicine over here. So
yeah, so I had a whole health and wellness website. I published a cookbook that was all focused on anti-inflammatory and alkaline eating and stuff like that. And then life happened, and I ended up, working 2 jobs and kind of let it go through the wayside. And then fast forward to getting fired. I realized that relying on a company to get me where I wanted to go was absolutely stupid because, I couldn't gauge what was going to happen. Like I didn't really see it coming. So I said, well, to heck with it. I'm going to start actually learning digital marketing and a lot of real estate's marketing. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Well, that's awesome. And yeah, like it's not the 1950s or even the 60s or 70s anymore where you get a job and you're with the company until you retire. Like that just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, that started to go by the wayside in the 80s. And, and then the 90s, we had like the boom and then the drop. You're too young to know that, but
I was alive in the 90s.
You were alive in the 90s. You were a baby though. I was having babies in the 90s.
Hey, I was born in the 80s. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that. Thank you.
It's the ice baths. It keeps me young.
It's all that ice baths, man. They're keeping you young. It's shocking your system to start over again every day.
I love it.
So for me, I've been in marketing for it's been forever. Not my first job. I mean, I started working when I was 12 because that's what we did in the 80s. But my first sort of adult job, I was working in market research. And I started off as a phone person. And then I moved into data entry. And then with the company, I actually ended up being the manager of West Coast operations by the time I was 19. Um, and that was fun. I didn't mind it. And throughout time, I've been like in advertising, and I've been a marketing specialist, and I've done all sorts of stuff like that. But the majority of my marketing experience has been actually with direct marketing. And so you're very removed, in a sense, from the people that you are marketing to. I mean, you see them as numbers. There's a lot of data analysis that goes on, but you're not talking to anybody directly, right? You're putting together mailers, and you're putting together letters and all sorts of things to reach at people, and you are casting a massive net. And then you're trying to pull people in from that, which, and then it can get narrowed down. Like when I was working at a gaming corporation, gambling, obviously that's way more narrowed down because you're marketing to your customers. But as time has gone on, I was with one company for about 7 years, and then they shut down. And it took me about 6 months to find another job, which was with the gambling corporation. And I was with them for a year, and then they dissolved my department. And then I was unemployed again. And this time it was a year to try and find work. And then I did find a job. And it was not a good fit for me. It was not a good fit for the company. It was like a nightmare fucking job. I cried.
We all had them.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
haven't had a job that made me cry in ages. And that one, yeah, I cried a lot on that one. And it used to take me 2 hours to get there in the morning. And that's, yeah, like
Oh,
2
no.
hours to get there. I was leaving the house at 4:45 in the morning just to get to work on time.
Oh, man.
It was just a nightmare. And then that one was gone. And then the next thing you know, I'm fighting and struggling. I move across country because I was in Canada at the time. Move across country to be with my sweetums, looking for work, can't find anything. Finally do find a job as a customer service agent. $15,000 a year drop in pay. Because the older I get, the harder it is for me to find work. Because the older I get, the less employable I become. Doesn't matter what your experience is. If you lose your job when you're older and you have any kind of gap, it's awful. So for like my Gen X people out there, I'm sure you understand the struggle on that one. Because yeah, the older they don't say there's ageism, but there absolutely is ageism.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, like you can't just bounce around from job to job, and it gets really difficult. But anyway, so I moved down here to be with my husband. We're actually still in the process of getting everything organized, and it's been like 2 years, 3 years now. And I decided that I did not, like, desperately did not want to go back to work. I mean, I was able to work for a while down here with the company that I was working with up in Canada. But then they just sort of blindsided me and stopped that. And so, yeah, well, all of a sudden I was unemployed, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to go through that stress and that struggle of trying to find another job. Now, I have publishing experience, I have graphic design experience, I have marketing experience. I'm like, there's got to be something I can do from home with this. And so then I started looking. So for me, I haven't been in it as long as you. I did try network marketing, or MLM, way back in like the early 2000s. Like, I don't know, like maybe like 2007 to 2010 or something. And yeah, no, that didn't work for me.
I agree. I think MLM gets a bad rap. I think it can
Oh
be
yeah, I
lucrative
mean,
for
I think that
people,
it
but
can.
it's definitely not for me either.
No, I mean, I think that, I mean, the people who can do it and do it well, and I will say that I love the products. I absolutely love the products. I just had no desire to be trying to get other people joined up.
Yeah.
Right? If they just wanted to buy the products, I'd be cool with that. But I didn't want to try and recruit people because that's not my jam.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then I started looking again when I got down here, and I went through what everybody goes through, which is you end up swimming with a bunch of sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah. I
find
think a
that
bunch of
too when you jump back in? Like seriously?
yeah, it was, I took the cheap courses to start with, and they were okay. But every, business coaching call was just them trying to sell me more crap I didn't need. Um Anytime I'd reach out for help, it was either in like the Facebook group where it was people who had just started just like me that couldn't actually help me, or I'd get I'd like email my business coach person. I get a snarky email back from support saying, if you need help, you need to email the support. Don't email them directly, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, what the heck are they there for then? And so,
Yeah.
and then of course the DM spams, like I'm to the point where I can look at it and I'm like, oh, I know exactly who coaches you. Like, I know exactly what
I
program
know,
you're learning
right?
this from. Like,
I've seen this script before. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, it's so tiring. Like, I always turn it back on him just because like it kind of entertains me. But and then the trolls, like so I got a smartphone when I started real estate, and I was doing, house tours and funny real estate reels and stuff like that. And so I was used to getting trolled about like my lip rings being unprofessional and like all that kind of stuff. But then like the trolls I was getting on the affiliate marketing one too, I was just like, what in the world is going on? And then my dog's account got trolled, and I was like, oh, okay, you guys are just really sad people who will
They've
troll
gone too
anything.
far.
Right? So I learned how to just, kind of laugh at the trolls and use them to at least boost my engagement. But that was a learning curve. There was a while where I turned commenting off on all of my profiles because I was just over it and needed a break. So,
And that's fair because I mean, it can get really disheartening when you're trying to do something, create something, you're brand new, right? And instead of people supporting you or even just, you know, hey, good job, right? They're out there trying to harm you and bring you down. And it's a shame because the trolls and the naysayers and the abusive people in this world, they're just louder, right? And also,
yeah.
we are programmed naturally by instinct to recognize the dark instead of the light. I mean, it's instinct, right? I mean, we can look at a picture of 100 faces and see smiling faces and see the only one that's not smiling because our natural instinct is to see where danger is. But when it comes at you for no reason, you're like, what the fuck, right? And it can be really
Yeah.
disheartening, especially for people who are new. I found that for me, I did the whole, started with a lighter course and then bought up, and it just didn't work, right? Now that's not to say it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it didn't work because like the support was too, you put in a request for support and you might get a response back in a couple of weeks, or I got told to Google it, which, excuse me, if you know anything about me, I automatically search for answers first and then I ask questions. I don't just immediately ask a question. I need to, because it's how I learn. I got to try and find stuff, and research is, something that I do. So being told to Google it after I've already spent like hours trying to figure it out, that just irritated me. And then, yeah, the only other support that you actually get would be in the group. And like you say, most of those people in the group were just as new as I was. So what kind of support can they really truly offer? And it's not to say that they can't give you some knowledge, because they might know something that I don't. But if I'm paying a lot of money for a course and for support, I expect to actually get support. Right.
Well, and
And
then half those people are also trying to sell you their own coaching program or their coach's program as well. And so even
yeah,
the help they're giving has a, hidden meaning.
it's got a caveat to it. And I mean, I don't
Yeah.
mind if people want to share their coaching program with me. Whatever. I mean, I get it. I'm part of a coaching program and I believe in what we do. Right.
Yep.
But if I say I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. No strings attached. Right. because that eventually, you know, maybe you'll come back to me, maybe you won't, but you know, maybe I've just made a friend, right?
Yeah.
Friends are cool too.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of it's getting lost, especially like in the last couple of months. Like, I get the people who are like, oh, this is a scam, because they do see the people that are doing the copy and paste videos, right? Where it's like, oh, I did this $7 course and now I'm making 10,000 a month in 3 months. And it's like, are you though?
Yeah.
Because then like 3 months from then you see like those profiles disappear because they're not. And that's where I think a lot of the training fails. And it's like, oh, well, here's what works for us. So do what we say because it's going to work for you. And then it takes all the authenticity out of it.
Yeah. And like the email or the DMs, that was huge for me. I got really burnt out on the DMs, and not so much just sending them, but I'm not comfortable with a script because that's not me, right? I want to get to know you and I want to be able to help you. And absolutely, I can ask some questions and stuff, but it was like you're being slammed in the DMs immediately when you're fresh fish. And it's like everybody's trying to give you a friend request, which is fine. You know, you need to make friends, you need to build up your audience and stuff like that. But a lot of them right out of the gate, man, they're like, can I ask you some questions? And then they've got the same 5 questions or 3 questions that they're asking you. And you can see it down the line. It's like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. I automatically block them. Like there's certain phrases that I'm just like, yep, block.
I'm more patient now. I am definitely way more patient now. If somebody tries to sell me right off the get-go, I will say, you know, there's better ways to do that. And I'd be
See,
happy to
that's what
help you
if they just send me links, I do that too. I'm just like, okay, obviously you're new. If you want to learn how to be a real marketer, like here, and I'll spam my link right back to them. But it's the ones who are like, well, what's stopping you from meeting your financial goals in your business? That I'm like, I've heard this too many times.
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't even know how my business is going.
Well, exactly. When they don't, or when they, what do you do? Where do you live? And it's like,
look at my profile.
Yeah. Step 1, look at who you're talking to.
Yeah. That one drives me out. So where are you from? I'm like, it literally says on my profile.
The moon.
2 seconds. Yeah. 2 seconds of actual like looking and you would know. But and that's the thing. So many of them now are using software, which fine. Like I'm fine with AI making things easier. But like they're just not setting stuff up right because again, they're not getting the right training. They're just buying into this done for you nonsense. And it's just not working.
Well, yeah, because I mean, done for you, if it's the whole thing that's done for you, then you're not learning anything at all.
Yeah.
You know, and so if that one doesn't work for you and you decide to go and move on to try something different, you're going to be in the exact same space that you were when you started because you haven't learned a dang thing. Right. And yeah, and I felt that way. I mean, there was lots of information with the first one that I took. But it was very like, here's a crap ton of videos. And at the end of every video and at the beginning of every video and somewhere in the middle of every video, I'm going to tell you my story. And if you really want to get any kind of mentorship, oh yeah, that's going to cost you more.
Yeah.
And that
the constant upsells are
yeah. And it almost stopped me. It did, because I was like, man, I put all of this and I'm putting in the time and I'm trying to get all the information, and all I'm getting is spammed and upsold for more money, and I'm not getting anywhere. And it was very, very frustrating. And yeah.
But the part that really got me, and like maybe it was there and I missed it, because I do have a tendency to kind of zone out, and like if it sounds like a similar training, I'm like, yeah, I've been through this and I'll skip it. But like everyone talks about, you know, the money's in the list, the money's in the list, the money's in the list, which I get. But I got so tired of copy and pasting emails. And then there was no actual training on like, this is how often you should email your list, or like, this is how you should build out your autoresponder. Like there's no training there. And so what a lot of new affiliates will do is they'll email their list every single day. And I know because I did it. And what happened was my autoresponder was like, your open rates are trash. What are you doing? Because I was hitting them every day and they just stopped opening them. And I didn't really know how to craft emails. So if it wasn't the done for you email I was sending, it was like a random story about me, which looked nothing like the other emails. So I'm sure it confused my audience. So I ended up having to backtrack and spend a lot of time, money, and resources fixing my autoresponders.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and for a lot of people also, they're being told you have to have a list, you have to have a list, you have to have a list right from the get-go. And it's like, you don't even have a following. How are you going to have a list? You don't have, who are you marketing to? Do you even know who you're marketing to? You know, and it's like, you got to do all the steps for a reason. And that doesn't matter if you are product marketing, if you are doing digital marketing, if you're courses, if you're a coach, it doesn't matter. You need to know who you're talking to. And then you need to know, you know, how to talk to them. And then on top of that, you also have to make sure that you go through the steps and learn how to do that properly, right? You've got to build that following. You've got to build that understanding with those people that you're trying to reach, because if you can't build a list if you don't have it. You can buy a list and then you can end up, you know, with like maybe, if you're lucky, 0.3% of them actually being viable addresses. But
yeah. I have two like pretty done for you programs that I do still sometimes kick solo ads to, because one of them's a new one where like I really like it. There's a year worth of emails. You drop in all your affiliate links and it just autofills them in the email, and like all you're doing is sending traffic, and then it does the theme for you, which is great. And then the other one's not as built out, but like same kind of theme. You know, it's a pretty simple low ticket program, monthly recurring income if they do go ahead and upgrade. So I like those two for supplemental to the main offer. But the main offer that I believe you and I both promote is the actual training, the actual coaching, the actual community, the actual tools you need to succeed long-term and sustainably.
Yeah. And to do it in whatever your niche is going to be, right? Because it's not, you're not just, I mean, you can promote the course, right? If like I believe in it, so I'm quite happy to promote that. But we've got people in there who are not. Absolutely, that's not what they want to do, and that's cool because they're still learning all the necessary tools to be able to build out their business their way.
Yeah, exactly. They're still getting the help, because I was thinking about, you know, reopening basically my health and wellness rabbit hole at one point, and I'd reached out to a coach that had reached out to me, and I was like, hey, like, where do I find really good affiliate programs for health and wellness? And he's like, oh, there really aren't any. You're just better off doing, you know, make money online. And I was like, I mean, sure, but like, you know, I have multiple profiles because I do promote multiple themes in multiple niches. And then I have one profile that's a catch-all for all of it, right? So like I separate, like if you've been on my page at all, you know I have dogs. But I separate a lot of the dogs, like the working dog stuff, onto a separate page because that's a very specific audience, right? So there's the dog parent people, which are my people, where I'm like, hey, like, you want to give your dog your best life? Stop working your office job. Come do this. But then there's also the working dog aspect that, like, I know that's not going to speak to anybody other than that particular group. So I separate the two. Bones Coffee, you know affiliate of theirs because we love our coffee. So I have a profile that's just coffee crap, random coffee videos or coffee memes or whatever that, you know, ties back to Bones Coffee. So like there is something to be said for, you could have multiple niches, but it takes a lot to manage the multiple profiles. And that's why I understand when you're first starting out, like pick one, get that going, and then go from there. But everyone was like, oh, pick one platform and get really good at that one platform. And I'm like, I mean, that makes sense, but I've had videos do terribly on IG, which is like my go-to platform, that do fantastic on TikTok. And TikTok is just, it's getting auto-posted from IG to TikTok. I don't even open the app. And those videos are still doing good. Like, I keep getting emails from TikTok that's like, why aren't you checking your notifications?
Facebook is obviously my main platform. But I have all the social medias and I do post on all of them. You know, TikTok is very consistently meh. You know, it's not terrible, but I don't blow up there. IG is murder for me, right? And YouTube is confusing as hell because I will have a video that does, 2,500 and then the next one gets 25. So you never know what's going to blow up and where it's going to blow up. So having multiple platforms makes sense. But again, if you are trained properly, you're not going to be like you. You don't spend all day posting on every single platform and doing no, that's what automation is for, right? And learning how to utilize that. So
yeah. And like I've had, I was automating my IGs to my Pinterest. And then lately, like someone actually, it's happening on Facebook now too, where like there are people going through and they're like, no, copyright, which like I'm not getting in trouble for, but it's just like, hey, your pin's muted because I'm using sounds that are okay on IG that are not okay on Pinterest.
Yeah.
And so I kind of shut that one down. Yeah. And then Facebook, like yesterday, I had like 200 notifications that was like, this video can't monetize. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Because again, it's not like I'm getting in trouble or anything like that. It's just, it happens. So I would say if you're just starting out and you're using repurpose or something, just stick with original audio. But that's about it. I love repurpose though. Like I wish I'd had that when I first started out. It would have made things so much easier.
Yeah, I have a few tools that I use that because I'm a budget conscious person. So I actually created an entire list of tools and programs and different companies where everything is either super low cost or no cost to use, that you can always upgrade to, but you don't have to get the basic benefits out of it. Because I saw so many people, especially with one of the programs, where they're wanting you to get on this expensive program and add this expensive program. So not only are you spending like thousands of dollars to learn, but then you're also putting out another like $400 or $500 a month for these programs to make it work. And that's
well, it's because they're getting a cut.
Should not bankrupt you.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially when like you actually like learn more, you're like, oh yeah, you're literally just promoting this because you get a nice cut.
Exactly. And at first you don't recognize that. You don't know that, right? You probably don't have that information. But once you've been in it for a while, you're like, oh, all right. Dirty dogs. Right. And then that just makes
sense.
Yeah. Now and then that just pisses you off more.
Yeah. There have been a few people that like I actually like work with now that I've had to go back in the DMs and be like, I'm sorry, I was really mean to you when you first reached out to me. But and most people don't even like recognize it. They think I'm just like in a hurry or like, like to them it doesn't sound mean or they're pretending it doesn't sound mean. But yeah, I was at a point that like as soon as someone reached out to me, I was like, what are you selling? Like, let's just get through this right now. What are you selling?
Yeah.
So
I'm like all friendly. And then, once they hit me at that pitch, I'm just like, ghost. And I don't want to ghost people, but there are certain ones where it's just pushy. Like I've had the ones, well, you're obviously not serious. And it's like,
oh, I love that one.
Don't tell me I'm not serious. I'm serious as a freaking heart attack here, man. Like
that's where I lost patience with a lot of coaches because they were like, well, you need to be adding 20 Facebook friends a day. And if you're not, then you're not taking this seriously and you're not putting in the work. And I was like, hold on. There are multiple ways to do this. I'm not going to do it your way. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to succeed. And I love those ones because it makes me like push that much harder to succeed in the anti-DM game. Because I'm like, it can be done. I know it can be done. I haven't quite figured out the formula, but I know it can be done because that's not my life. Like, I don't want to be living on Facebook DMing people.
Well, yeah, you want people to, I don't know. Personally, I want people to come to me because they see that I can help them, right? And they know that I'm not going to bullshit them. And that's, and that's important to me because I want to start off on the right foot with people and not pushing people. Now, I don't mind if I'm in conversation online and I see that somebody's struggling and say, hey, I'd be happy to help you. Right. And then that conversation naturally evolves. But no, I'm not going to be slamming you in your DM saying, buy my shit. Like, no. Right. Because that doesn't work for me. That I don't like it when it happens to me. And I don't want to do that to other people. I just want to be able to help people. And, whether that's with just a little bit of supporter training or to point them in the right direction, I can do that sort of thing. And you have amazing content. So your content should be like pulling people all the time because you're hilarious and you're creative and you're entertaining. So
thank you. I think so. It's great to know other people do too.
I think you are, yes. Well, it's always important that you think you're entertaining, but no.
Yeah.
Because it makes it a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
My daughter and I
is like, I don't understand people who are like, right? I don't understand people who are like, content creation is hard. I'm like, it's not if you don't overthink it. If you're overthinking it, yeah, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're just like, oh, this would be funny. Like, the one I did when I rewrote Journey's Don't Stop Believing to Don't Stop Scrolling. That was a terrible rendition on my part. Like, I had to keep my voice down. I couldn't really sing that day. Like, I sound like shit, but I thought it was funny. And I've gotten few compliments on it because other people thought it was funny and they realized that, like, you know what? No, I'm not Taylor Swift, but like I can have fun. And if that inspires one affiliate marketer to do their first, video, or like one content creator to like start their first video, then like awesome, I've done my job.
Absolutely. I will overthink my content. Because of the time that I've spent in marketing, I'm always like, okay, it's got to look this way and be this way and whatnot. And in reality, once I get the ones that are easiest for me are just like you say, when I'm not thinking about it, I just, I just feel like talking about this today. And if I can just be me and whatnot, that's simple. And I'm not exciting. My daughter and I think we are hilarious, but I'm a lot more funny when I get to know me.
I was gonna say, I love you. I think you're hilarious.
So, any rate, so covered a lot today. This is us, get to know us. We are going to be back on next Friday.
Every Friday.
Fridays at 9 a.m. And we'll be switching back and forth between Rose's profile and my profile. But we'll be tagging, so you'll be able to see it on either one. Yep. Anything else you want to add, my lovely Rose?
I think we're good. I think it was a good first session.
All right. If anybody has any questions they want to drop in the aftermath, please do, because we will be more than happy to answer them for you. All right?
Yes. Or let us know if we at least made you laugh. Give us some engagement.
Absolutely. Yes. Be here next time. Make sure that since now you know exactly when it's happening, pop by next time, right?
Yes. All
right.
Have a fantastic day.
You too. Enjoy your busy day.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.